we are recording. Sorry. Okay, good. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Blocking your face.
Well, it's hard. All right, whatever. We'll keep this in. Terrible sound. Terrible sound. Here we go. This will make up for it, though.
Okay. Welcome into No Puns Allowed with Paige and Kramer.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the good sound. That is the good sound.
Oh, shit. Already spilled. Cheers.
Cheers to the regular season being over.
Man, kind of like a little bit of what do I do with my hands sort of thing going on over here. Also a little like relief. This shit's exhausting,
Yeah.
but like, man, oh man, it moves fast, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
super weird. Always like an acclimation period this first week. But I do actually, we have to make a pick in the Army-Navy game, don't we? Like that is one.
Oh, of course.
We
I
do
didn't
have
even
to
put
bet
that on the
that.
doc, but we do have to bet that game. I mean,
Yeah,
it's our duty to America.
It is.
To bet on that game. Yeah, it's strange that the regular season is over. That like last week of the season is always very chaotic, and it's always strange because it's like coincides with like holiday season.
Yep.
And like most people are always like, what am I supposed to do at work during this time? And I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous. I wish.
I know.
But then this week is like very chill. This is like a weird week because there's like nothing. And then there's Heisman and we shouldn't say nothing, but it's very mellow compared to like normal weeks during the season. And then we have Bulls that start. We have early signing day, which matters more now than semis, than national championship. So we get this week to kind of chill, and then it becomes a big kind of rush to the end.
By the way, shout out Municipal. I'm wearing, I got a lot of compliments on this today. It's like my golf shirt, like with the
it has
altered
the
collar.
Municipal on the like little side right there, right?
It does. Wait, I always mess this up because I'm looking at the screen and it's always backwards. So I'm like, yes, wherever it is, it's there. Yes. But I do love this. And holiday shopping, friends, municipal.com. It's time. Paige, I'm behind on my shopping, by the way, and it's time to get moving here.
Yeah,
like, fast.
I'm almost done. I have a few more things. I like to be ahead of the game just in case anything gets delayed shipping wise. But yes, Municipal is a great gift for people. I saw today, the reason I know that there's a little tiny Municipal up here is because I saw someone post on Instagram and they reposted it on their story. So I'm just like waiting for the day that you like post like a mirror video of you being like, oh, at the gym, being like, oh, here's my Municipal, and then reposting it. That would make my life. Like, that should be your Christmas present to me.
I
is
could
like
get
doing
that.
Okay, kid, I just need you to do that. AJ, if you're listening, please put that on your social media account.
I will make this happen. Like, not at like 3:30 in the morning, like our friend Mark Wahlberg, but like, like maybe at noon on a Sunday. That could be me. So consider it in motion. All right. Well, it's a weird week. So little pod house cleaning. We've got Bulls. We love the Bulls season. I don't give a shit what anybody says. We're going to tell you way too much about the Bulls here in the coming week. So there are no bowl games this week. And then next week, it's going to be like Bowl Mania. Favorite Bulls, breaking down bowl games. There's some fun early bowls too that I'm actually excited to lean into. But, and then of course we're going to break down the semis. We got a lot of stuff to do. And, but the sport is also breaking, which we'll have to talk about now. It's really hard to keep up with all this shit. But first and foremost, let's wrap up the conference championships. It feels like it was like 40 days ago already. It's kind of weird.
Ago.
Yeah.
It feels like it was ages ago thinking about it. I'm sad that USC didn't get to compete the whole time with a fully healthy Caleb Williams, so that's upsetting. But ultimately, I told you the Pac-12 wasn't going to make the college football playoff, and you didn't believe me. But I did have a little hope on USC there, and it's sad that they didn't get to make the playoff. But lucky for Ohio State fans. It was a not really thrilling, but Friday was the only day that there was really anything exciting. TCU losing, like, I feel like I didn't want to bet that, but like I should have. That was like a lock that Kansas State was going to win.
Yes.
Yeah, and Max Duggan just leaving everything he has on the field. But other than that, it really wasn't that eventful. It was more the playoff and then the aftermath of the playoff and people just discussing all things. I said this to you separately offline of our live stream that we do, reacting to the playoff stuff. It's so funny how fans like truly believe that like Alabama fans, like there are some of them that really did believe that they should be in the playoff over Ohio State. And like there were people that were like genuinely mad that like Ohio State made the playoff and that like and that TCU made the playoff. Like, people were genuinely upset that a TCU team that lost in the championship and hadn't lost it at all before that and lost a close game because they play in the Big 12 and are TCU and not a big football brand. People were pissed that they made the playoff, which was just shocking to me that people... And then there's people in the comments being like, you guys clearly don't watch football. I'm like, clearly you don't watch football because that is, like, not fair to say that about TCU.
No, like, if you... It's like to a lot of people it was a little engine that could, but they just did. So it was like the way we as a group tried to manufacture drama last weekend was fascinating to me. Like Alabama was cooked. Okay,
there was no way they were getting it.
We told you last week it was cooked. It was like it was a really dumb discussion. In fact, after Friday night, like that was it. It was over.
Yeah.
And I will say, like we talk about. Like a 12-team playoff, like really taking away from the regular season. Conference championships in the playoff have really sucked.
Yeah.
The weekend has overall been bad. Alabama last year was pretty fun. That was wild. But overall, this weekend it really hasn't done much. There's some exceptions. I was there when Ohio State beat Wisconsin like 1,000-0. That was pretty cool. They got in over TCU. Like that was like a controversial thing. And then it really wasn't controversial. So I do think overall the weekend lacked juice. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't want to rip on it. My other takeaway is back to USC. So Caleb Williams gets hurt.
Yeah.
But like Lincoln Riley is going to have to do something about this defense. Mm-hmm. Grinch obviously follows him from Oklahoma to USC. That was a horrible defensive showing. Like the missed tackles, you name it. I think if Caleb Williams was still 100%, that game would have been a problem. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, like, and we're jumping ahead a little bit, but like Jim Leonhard is out there, right? Mm-hmm. And if I'm Lincoln Riley and I'm like, man, that's tempting. I'm curious to see how loyal he is with the guy that he brought over. Because you can already feel this pressure mounting that he's going to have to make a decision, even though USC forced like 1,000 turnovers this year.
Yeah,
that will not happen next year.
But it's and when it doesn't, just tackling I think. Well, especially because now it's like you're not at Oklahoma, you're at USC. Like you need to like playing in the Pac-12. Like you're gonna have to play some defense. You're not gonna be able to get by just being like the whole conference doesn't play defense.
Also, if you play in the Big Ten, you're going to get bullied.
Yeah.
Michigan's going to just murder you. Like,
forgot about that little jump that they're making.
No, but like, I was thinking somebody put that on Twitter, and you're like, you know what? Not everybody. Like, Illinois is not just gonna like run it down your throat, but like, there's a style of football that you've got to play. And if you talk to people, from Oklahoma,
you'll probably be able to play defense against Iowa, but other than that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Not with our new star quarterback.
That's right. I can't believe you put that on the dot. That's who I was thinking of in the transfer portal. I was trying to think of all the people. We're getting to it. But no, I see your point, though. I think I am curious what Lincoln Riley is going to do because, again, to what I was saying before, is that you're not at Oklahoma anymore. You're at USC. No. The expectation is high. Your first year, you set the expectation very high. You were being considered for the playoff. You were in playoff contention, and your defense is mainly the reason you're not in it. So
honeymoon's over.
You gotta make calls, and that's gonna suck, especially in college football because we know it's always like a brotherhood, and they always look out for each other. But I think in this situation, like to take the team to the next level, he probably does have to make a change.
So to the final college football playoff rankings. So we did the live show, and we just were consumed by 4, 5, and 6. That's it. It was weird. The pacing was wrong. In that college, ESPN does this differently every year. We thought they were doing it one way, and then we just went live, and we wanted to make sure we know what they were talking about. I have a funny story by the way. So I was filming it down here. This is my basement, behind the curtain, literally, right? And all season long I wouldn't care if my kids or animals walked onto this podcast. It would be funny.
It's chaos.
It's good. It's good content.
Yeah, we love chaos.
But during these live streams, there are a lot of people watching, thank God. And thank you if you did watch. And I would prefer not to have it. So all season long, no child disruptions. Now, we're doing the live stream, okay? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see my cat like strutting his way over here. And in the back of my mind, I'm like talking to you. I'm like, fuck. Because I know what happens. This cat will jump on my lap, right? So I'm here, and you can't see this arm, my right arm, but I am stiff arming him. He is jumping and literally jumping into my hand, right? So I'm like, okay, so someone has opened the door. Within 3 minutes, my two children are standing next to me. And again, I'm shooing them away with a present that they wrapped for me, a Christmas present, which was like a really nice craft, right? Not going to rip on it. Amazing gesture, kids. But I'm trying to focus.
I can't wait in like 20 years from now and they listen to these back and they're like, Dad was mad that we brought him a handmade card.
I'm like this, like just shooing them. I'm like, get out. Like saying nothing, but just pushing hard. And
what's so funny is I didn't even notice. You did really well.
My heart was pounding. I do not get nervous.
Do you remember what we were talking about?
It was in the heart of like the Tennessee, Alabama. You know, it's funny. I think so because in that moment, I don't know what, I think it was Tennessee versus Alabama, but honestly, I was so flustered that I'm like, just don't say anything fucking stupid. Just get done with this. And so again, the kids leave, but the cat the whole time circled me like a great white shark. Like, motherfucker, move your hand and I'm going to jump on the lap. And I'm like, oh, please don't. God. So that was fun. But we didn't look at the rankings. Back to the actual point of this after the little detour. And they're pretty wild. Like, they're pretty, like, not that it matters because we're like the work here is done.
Yeah.
But did there anything like USC dropping to 10? I don't know. It seems a little egregious to me, I guess.
It seems kind of, I thought I was like kind of offended by it. I mean, I appreciate that they put, I think that I'm just shocked that they put Utah at 8. I would think that Kansas State stacked up a little bit better.
Yep.
Clemson is being rewarded. Clemson, Tennessee, and Alabama all being rewarded for the fact that they didn't play in their conference championships. Excuse me. Not Clemson, Alabama and Tennessee. So Clemson I would have put USC at 5, Clemson at 6. That would have pissed some people off.
So what I don't get is like, you're right. You're exactly right. Alabama, Tennessee, chilling. USC, like floor just drops out. Right?
I do have a rant. I've got it. Good. I do. I am upset about this. The SEC didn't have a good year.
Agreed.
They had a down year. Like, and the fact that they're being rewarded for, like, the label on their helmet just really annoys me. Because they had a down year.
Look at the rankings here, okay? You've got Alabama, we got Georgia. Georgia, no beef. You can remove yourselves from this rant. Georgia, you are fine.
Yes.
Alabama was not vintage Alabama. Tennessee kind of got But Tennessee lost their starting quarterback, also gave up 63 points to
South Carolina, yeah.
I don't know if it's 62 or 63. And then it's down a ways here, right? LSU got walloped. And South Carolina is your number 4 ranked team? No offense, South Carolina. Mississippi State?
Yeah, that's the thing, is the SEC did have a down year.
It did.
Oh, I will say I'm very happy that the committee did not put Ohio State over TCU. I would have flipped my shit live. Because so to your point, we usually get the rankings and then we go live. We watched the rankings live while we were live. So we had 1, 2, and we had 1 and 2, and then 3 showed up right as we were going live. So we knew it was TCU. But if I would have seen that live, like when we saw that USC had dropped out of the top 6, we were like, wait, what? But that was a new thing that we hadn't done before, was reacting live. And I was like, this could go really badly, because I would have flipped if they put Ohio State above TCU. That would have been just atrocious.
So on the playoff itself, we'll
Mm-hmm.
kind of save the deep. We have like so much content over the next month. I love the next month, but like I am very excited about the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was kind of like, okay, bring me 12 teams. Georgia Ohio State is a fucking banger. That is
Mm-hmm.
a banger.
Yeah, it is.
And Michigan TCU is intriguing. Like I'm in, obviously.
Was it 2 years ago that we had Ohio State Clemson, and that was when everyone thought that, like, was it Ohio State Clemson in the semi? Right?
Yeah, and didn't because it
That's
was
when
Fields
Justin
versus
Fields
Trevor
got hurt.
Lawrence. Yep.
That's when Fields got hurt, but everyone expected Clemson to just roll in that game. I don't think people expected Ohio State to win that semifinal.
Yeah, that was when Fields then tried to play versus Alabama and just
Yes.
got absolutely obliterated.
That was when.
Yeah.
That was when. That's when Kristen got canceled on.
Oh yeah, anniversary.
Anniversary
happens,
of that Kristen.
it happens.
Happens to the best of us, really.
It does. So I'm excited, despite the lackluster like arrival. I'm very excited. I'm really excited for Georgia Ohio State. I really am.
Okay, but do you think Michigan TCU is going to be as bad as everyone thinks? Michigan let a lot of teams that were not good in the Big Ten like hang around.
Well, I guess this is kind of why. Like, so did Georgia sometimes, a little bit.
But not in the way that Michigan did. Not in the way that Michigan did.
I do. Well, this is interesting.
Missouri, yeah, that's fair.
And I mean, but no, I see what you're saying. Like, I do think we're overreacting. Now, this is interesting to me. So the point spreads are Michigan TCU is down to 8. I think it was 9.5. Georgia and Ohio State is 6.5. I'm going to tell you right now, I love Ohio State. I'm going to say it right now. But that's not what I want to talk to you about. There are point spreads for all potential national championship games. Would you care to play the game of what is that point spread? Or I could just tell them to you. I don't care either way.
I'm actually pretty good at this. Remember, we were doing it on live streams.
You are.
And I was
that's
pretty
why.
good.
That's why I normally wouldn't put you on the spot. We did not plan this, but it's fun. And so there's all 4 games.
Okay.
Michigan versus Georgia. What do you think that point spread is?
It's going to be under a touchdown.
It is right, pretty much at a touchdown. They have Georgia
6.5?
minus 7.5.
7.5. Okay, I would have gone 6.5. So
Yeah,
close.
so it's Georgia, Michigan, or excuse me, Georgia, Ohio State is 6.5. Michigan, Ohio State is 7.5, which is interesting. So Ohio State's still 1 point better than Georgia, which, okay. I don't have a strong take on that. Maybe people do.
You know what that means? That means that Vegas likes Ohio State.
Vegas, of course they do. Not just saying that because I picked them to win the title, but whatever.
I mean,
all right.
we both have Ohio State futures. Can you imagine if that cashes?
Oh, I am ready.
We're on the same side this year.
We are on the same side. Okay, TCU versus Georgia.
That's gonna be
Large.
17.
15.5.
I was going to say 12.5, and when you said high, I went 17. So
15.5. That's not a good matchup for TCU, by the way. Don't think that would be good. Ohio, well, I said it was 1 point. It's definitely not. Ohio State versus Michigan.
3, 2.5.
Bam, 3. Ohio State is
3.
favored by 3. Now, that's going to like generate some strong takes. I'm not here for it.
Okay, so I'm kind of rooting for us to get to watch Michigan Ohio State.
I think it'd be fucking great.
I think it would be awesome. Yeah. It would be so fun. Can you imagine?
No.
Oh my gosh. Which reminds me, I have good content ideas for us when we go to LA. That would make excellent content.
Last one, Ohio State versus TCU, which also would be
a large spread. I'm guessing.
Yes, it is a large spread. It's not as large.
10.5.
10.5. God damn! Right on the
Money.
Let's
go.
That would be a very fun football game. So
we should have this segment. I think we need to start making that a segment where I don't look at spreads for things.
Guess the spread.
Guessing the odds.
When I was getting into gambling, this is what I used to do every week when I had time and no kids and family. I would look at games and like come up with my own little power rankings of like, okay, here's what I think the number should be. And it was a cool way to do it because sometimes like You're just off. Like James Madison versus Coastal Carolina, like 2 weeks ago. Like it was what was it, 13.5? I would have had it like 3. James Madison won by 1 billion points, by the way.
At your core, you were just like a like a 22-year-old.
I am. I know it's like the retired me. It's like there's the pictures of me in like my secret room. Like those were the days. That the old me every once in a while, but I do like this game. This does need to be a segment.
Okay, we'll do
picks and pints.
Okay.
Guess that line.
Line.
Actually, we could do some of it. I don't know. Are you acclimated with the bowl lines yet? Have you looked at the
No,
bowl
I
lines?
haven't. Do you want me to do it for bowls?
No. I want you to not do it, and next week we can do some guess that line.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Season.
Do this segment for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I want you to do nothing. And
okay,
perfect.
I can do nothing for a week, but after that you gotta let me. Also, because I've been going on vibes, so I do like day of.
I think that's great. Heisman is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I am on DraftKings. There are currently no Heisman betting odds. The finalists for this, people probably know it. You have Caleb Williams, you have Max Duggan, you have CJ Stroud, and you have Stetson Bennett. I am really sad with how fucking unoriginal Heisman voting has become.
Yep.
Like, dude, Bijan Robinson should be in New York. Like, what is the Heisman?
Hendon Hooker should be in
I agree with Hendon Hooker too. But like, what is the Heisman becoming? If it's this lazy, like when you think of the Heisman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be clear, Caleb Williams is going to win, and I got no beef with that.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams was the best player in college football, like wire to wire this year. So I'm not even arguing with that end process, even with like an odd finish. Max Duggan, I'm pretty cool with him being there too.
Absolutely.
The other guys had great years, but like, is the voting that like boring where we can't get like fresh blood involved ever? Mm-hmm. It's so uninspiring to see this stuff.
Yeah, I would argue that CJ Stroud's numbers are pretty ridiculous. So I get that. And you wouldn't want like just like one game to kind of factor into them not being a finalist. But yeah, I think this kind of goes along with that playoff argument of like best teams and most deserving. So I think you got best player in the country and then like the most deserving people, because I think like most deserving, like it's not fair to Bijan Robinson that like he plays on the team that he does. You could argue the same thing with Drake May. So I mean, there's a lot of situations where like if you played for a bigger school, you would be in the conversation. It's a rarity for you to get in if your school's not in the playoff discussion really at this point. But I'm wondering if that changes with expansion, and for the love of God, move the voting back until after the national championship.
Well, that would be interesting because that would change everything. I mean,
yeah, because then you get to see guys in playoff positions. You know what I mean? Like I understand it's supposed to be for the year, so I know.
Here's the thing. I like that argument. My only counter to that is the Bijan argument, who's like, oh my God, this guy was amazing, but his team, they didn't stink, but they weren't good enough.
Well, and then the other part of that is if you have guys that are leaving for the draft who aren't going to play in their bowls, and even if their team that's going to be the very interesting part about the NFL draft and playoff expansion is like, do guys play in their technically playoff, like quarterfinals or whatever?
Well,
instead of training for the draft.
I just find it hilarious that when Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette did this, it was like, we have huge character concerns. Like, I think it was Leonard Fournette. I know it was Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, this is not like, we have huge. And now it's just like, everybody like Will Levis is like, fucking see ya. Thanks y'all. Like this is it. Like,
well, and people are understanding it, but then also we're seeing the trend of guys stay in school and then just enter the transfer portal because of NIL. Oh my God. Which has kind of gotten like completely out of hand. But also something that came up this week that I don't know if you saw. This is not on the doc, sorry. We're really just spitballing. I'm not even looking at the doc at this point. We're just talking.
Go.
So I saw how Caleb Williams responded to a tweet about him crying And it was this conversation about like Max Duggan, who was crying in the press conference, and oh my god, broke my heart, by the way. It literally broke my heart.
I know.
But Caleb was also crying, and I saw that video of him crying, and someone had called him a name that he, you know, like was being weak or whatever, and then all these people were like heralding Max Duggan, saying like, oh, that's passion and that's someone who cares. And it was so interesting to me, like how people pick that narrative of like whether or not tears are toughness or whatever, or caring or passion, or if it's weakness. But I just thought that was super interesting how that like we judge people based on that. And to your point, like when people were sitting out of Bulls before, it was like, oh, character concerns. And I can tell you, like, Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey are probably two of the like better human beings that play in the National Football League.
That Caleb thing, by the way, was complicated and is complicated because his initial tweet I didn't know what was going on when I first saw his tweet.
Yeah.
And then people were attacking him like, hey, why are you making fun of Max? He cleared it up.
He was not at all. Well, and even in the original tweet, I didn't think he was making fun of him. He was just saying, it's funny how like that's the narrative for him, but for me,
I kind of go there too, and I think it has a lot to do with race.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
I think there's a lot to unpack there, and I thought Caleb Williams explained it like really well. I find it fascinating that we're gonna rip on anyone regardless of race or position for like showing emotion. The internet sucks, so maybe I don't find it fascinating because Twitter is a fucking cesspool and people are terrible. But like,
yeah.
I can't believe we're still there. And he has a point, but I think most reasonable people would see Caleb Williams or Max Duggan or anybody showing emotion and like feel emotion on their behalf. If you watch college football, if you have any sort of like loose connection to them, you'd feel that. But unquestionably, like the first thing that came to mind is race, and I'm like, you know, it's heavy. I mean, it's a heavy discussion.
And I think too, like now we're able to have that conversation. I think even the players are feeling like they're allowed to have that conversation. Yeah. And that shows how the sport has shifted, because a couple years ago that tweet wouldn't have gone over well with a coach or whatever. And Lincoln Riley is going to be totally fine with Caleb doing his thing and knowing that was a conversation that needed to be had. So I'm glad the sport's like going in a direction where he can point that out and say like, look, this seems a little ridiculous. Let's pay attention to these kind of things, and let's not have him be like completely made fun of on the internet. Because I think sometimes people think it's okay to make fun of people on the internet, and that it doesn't mean anything because they're behind a keyboard. But I'm sensitive to this.
No, I am too. But like, we deal with it every week now. Yeah. But like, I did want to hit on something like as an attachment from this. It was hard to watch Caleb Williams just limping around with that game out of reach. And Lincoln Riley saying he wouldn't let me pull him out. Dude, like, that's not his job. Like, you see this in UFC when like a corner throws in the towel, like, or in boxing, right? Where you're like, we got to protect him from himself. It actually made me uncomfortable the last couple of minutes of that game, watching Caleb Williams play in a blowout and try to manufacture offense. He took like 3 pretty like fairly sizable hits in that moment. So I just an aside there, like we gotta do better to protect our guys here. Not just a Lincoln Riley thing. We gotta have some common sense. Like, oh, you wouldn't let me take him out. Like, you're the coach, man. Like you can go get security. Like, get him out of the game. His hamstring is not doing well. Yeah. So either way, Caleb Williams, G, Max Duggan, G. Awesome showing from both of them in losing efforts. Like, rarely do 2 quarterbacks actually elevate their profile in a losing effort. I think both of them did that.
No, seriously. We're talking about them. We're not talking about the people that won their conference championship games. Yeah. So it's great. Did you see the video of Max at a hockey game? He's got his Coors Light, like just chilling. He seems like the nicest of guys, and so does Caleb. They seem like really nice people.
He just seems chill. Max looks like there's some. The content is popping for them, but especially Max. It seems like it's going to be a content-heavy month.
But we do need to discuss some trolls briefly. Just more trolls. I know, this seems like a downer of an episode, but it's really not. Mostly, I just want to say that making jokes on Twitter is okay, and I made a joke on Twitter, and people really did not take kindly to it. I jokingly said, because college football playoff expansion, literally hours after we finished recording last week, it became official that we were moving to the 12-team playoff in 2024. I made a joke of a blanket statement saying, if you don't love expansion, then you don't love college football, in my opinion, and put like an upside down smiley face, thinking that would let people know that this is in fact supposed to be hyperbole. And people really got offended and told me that I don't know football and that I should leave college football to the people that really care about college football, which I found very, very funny. But I also just, like, most of the time, I would say probably 90% of the time, I am relatively unbothered by things that people say at the internet because I've heard it all and I just don't care. But that particular series of a day, and you even told me, you're like, my mom even noticed that you were going after people on Twitter because it just gets so irritating that, like, after a while, just, like, stop saying that to me. Like, stop saying it to me. Like, I understand that I am a female, but just, like, stop. That doesn't mean that I don't understand football. Like, and just because I made a joke, and also, by the way, Nick Saban was on Fox during championship weekend saying, you know, I think expansion's good in this situation because he adapts to where the game is going. He probably doesn't love expansion because his team has to win more games to get to where they're ultimately going to be. And it's probably a bad thing for his team specifically, but he's adapting to it. And that was just my point of, like, it was a joke because people were saying if you like expansion, then you know, don't love the sport. And if you do like like, it just was so stupid. Like, all of the arguments on Twitter were stupid. I was making a joke at their expense, and it came back to bite me in the butt because people were really rude to me on the internet, and I just had enough and did respond to some people, and I won't be doing that probably again until next year.
My mom did alert me of this. My mom is on Twitter, and she goes, like, is Paige good? And I'm like, what? Like, I tried to log off, and then I logged in. I'm like, holy shit! Like, there is some stuff going on. If you have opinions on social media, I'll tell you a story. Greg Childs, he was an Arkansas wide receiver, really good. I remember when I used to do my NCAA simulations, and Greg Childs like won the Heisman, right? There was a play with him, and I'm trying to remember. I believe it was like an illegal hit, or there was something weird, and I had a strong take on the hit. Mm-hmm. I think somebody absolutely clobbered Greg Childs while he was catching a pass, and I can't remember who. Now I'm going to have to look up this email afterwards. And I made a tweet, and I remember this person wrote me an email, like, legitimately, like, you should fucking die. You piece of, like, you know, and, like, I had never gotten that before, mm-hmm. and it was horrifying. And it was like, oh my God, why would someone find me and take the time? And it was over like a targeting hit or something. And, like, why? And then you kind of get numb to it. And then just sometimes people say it doesn't bother them. I say that a lot. Sometimes it fucking bothers you.
Sometimes it bothers me. That's the thing, is it gets you. You're human. Yes. It got to me. Like, that day, I was like, today's not the day. I woke up. I think Jason, like, tweeted at me, and I was like, I choose violence. Like, I do not have time for this. The worst part, too, is that one of them that I trolled back, who told me I didn't know anything about football, ended up in my DMs asking me on a date. So that's the part about it that just gets me even more mad.
So,
and,
all right,
like,
now,
it just, I get
So
done.
was the DM, okay, the person just trolling you, right? Mm-hmm. Probably, like, the comment itself was, like, aggressive. In the DMs, was it, like, changing of tune, or was it like...
It was like, haha, so funny, like, love a girl that can fight back or something like that. And I was like, I just would rather stab myself in the eye with a fork.
Is that, like, a common place in your DMs?
I don't check my DMs regularly. Like, I really don't. But I do with people I know and I've, like, allowed to, like, talk to me. But sometimes I'll see it but you can, like, choose to not, like, open it or anything like that. Men,
we can do better than this.
We can do better. I'm not opposed to people DMing me, but, like, don't be, like, trolling me publicly and saying I don't know football and leave college football to the people that care, and then sending me a DM trying to ask me out on a date.
You don't know shit.
Like, that's weird.
Would you like to get dinner?
Would you like to get dinner? It's just weird. It's weird. And, like, also, some days I just, like, have absolutely had it. And that was one of those days that I absolutely had it. So I will say, like, sometimes it just does get to you. Sometimes it's just too much.
I was going to get on and defend, but it was like it had been hours.
No.
And it would have been like I walked to the battlefield and like everyone's dead.
Yeah,
and I've got like my sword. I'm like,
Well, that's the thing. Is like I think that's the point too for me is like I don't need everyone to come to my defense.
You don't need a defense, but
because
I enjoy this shit too. Like this would have been fun.
Yeah, no, I think too it's because like anyone who knows me personally knows that I'm good. I can take that and I will handle my business, and that's why like it's not even, but it is so fun. But it's funny because people just take it so seriously, and like I just don't take myself that seriously. Like what I do for a living is talk about sports. Like, I literally talk about sports. If I was, like, a heart surgeon or something like that, fine. I could see you coming for me and being like, you were wrong, because that is something you should probably... Yeah, you should probably be good at. But, like, in this case, like, there's so many different opinions. Like I mentioned earlier, like, on our live stream, one person will be like, TCU deserves to be in, even if they lost, and I'm a Big Ten fan. And then it'll be like, Ohio State fan. I don't think TCU should have been 3. They should have been dropped out of the playoff completely. And it's like, you're not going to make everybody happy. So this is why we do this. And this is why we have fun with this podcast. And it's not so stiff and serious is because of that.
Yeah. It's also the problem with Twitter is it's gotten just like, it's like politically charged and just like, I don't have time. Like I don't, I use Twitter for stupidity.
Okay.
Dad jokes and football, basically. Like that's it.
Dad jokes. That should be your bio. Dad jokes and football.
It is. And golden tea.
And
see? Okay, wait. I've got a funny segue, by the way. All right. This is not on the doc either. These are always my favorite episodes. Have you seen the Scott Frost golden tea rumors?
No.
Have you read this? Okay.
No, but this is like all your demo.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta pour another glass of wine. All right. So there were this bottle is going down fast. During the season, I had people reach out to me and tell me that Scott Frost loves golden tea. And for anyone that listens to the pod that don't know, like I cover college football, but I also like develop golden tea. That is my job. Like the lead of golden tea. Okay. So these two worlds occasionally intersect. Whatever. It's fine. It's good commentary to have your dog
barking in the background at Amazon. It's Christmas time, guys.
It is. Yeah. Get used to it. So all right. So whatever. So when this rule stuff is happening, I have a tweet deck search for golden tea. There are dozens of Nebraska fans showing up, like for the last couple of weeks, like talking about, well, all Scott Frost did was play fucking golden tea and, show up late to meetings, blah, 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 blah. I don't know any, like, I have heard some things. I have heard some very interesting commentary on that front. I'm just going to say that. So Matt Rule, there's a picture of Matt Rule playing ping pong in the Nebraska facility. And there in the background is a golden tea machine.
Golden tea.
There it is. It's an older one, but it's a real one. It's like the one I have in the basement. And just the commentary of that was incredible.
So,
like,
when are you going to hire him too?
Well, so I did tweet at Matt Rule that I'm like, Matt, we need to update your golden tea. He has not responded. There are
Have you
coaches.
ever interviewed him?
I have not. Lincoln Riley loves him some golden tea. When he was at Oklahoma, I know, so I deal with operators. I know, like, during COVID and stuff, one of the operators hooked Lincoln Riley up with a place to go play golden tea. Like, college coaches, there's a connection between this game and college coaches.
Okay,
like,
what we need to do, because I would like to be invited over to Lincoln Riley for some wine.
I'm there.
Let's hand deliver a golden tea to Lincoln Riley in the off season and just have a chat.
Just like,
wow, that would be excellent podcast content, wouldn't it?
I'm in. So the Scott Frost golden tea thing, like this game showing up, it was hilarious. Like people on the thread, like it's real. Like, and I'm getting tagged in this, and like people are saying, like, yeah. I
have a question. Do you have access, like once you deliver a golden tea to somebody's house or bar or whatever they're having their golden tea in, can you access that to be able to like see? So like if it was like Coach Frost that was like in there as his name and it's like scores and stuff?
If the game is online, I could look at every game ever played on that machine, who played, what the score was, what time they played, how many
So you
games
could
they
see.
played. I could. I don't think the
So
game
you
was
could
online.
confirm this.
Well, the game looked
Oh, that would have
old.
been such a good
I
feature
know.
for us to do. Is like,
My
did he
scoop.
actually
Yeah,
play as
like,
much?
oh,
That
here are the
sounds like
following
a
games.
Nicole Auerbach story about
I
like
think
following the.
I think that's a. I don't know. I should know this. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal that. That seems somewhat illegal, publicly. But I don't think it was online. Scott,
Well, if it's
Matt
online, you're
Rule.
playing online. Like that's you should know that by now. Everything's
Oh
online.
yeah,
You're being
no,
tracked
but
by your phone, all the
I
things.
could get that data. Yes, I have access to that data, like at my fingertips. So I random as hell, but it has been like hilarious to follow here over the last I don't know 2 weeks. We do need to talk about the transfer portal. Like,
Yeah.
okay, can I I don't know how to say this. I think everyone should be allowed to transfer, but I kind of hate this. So I'm like, I think I'm for the players, but this sucks. Like, this is a mess.
It's
Like, so what do we do with this?
I am for the transfer portal for sure. But
Yeah,
as
me
like
too.
someone who covers the sport, it's like kind of exhausting. Like, we have enough to keep up with. And like, maybe this is us just being naive because we don't I mean, we obviously pay attention to professional sports, which, by the way, we do need to talk about the Aaron Judge stuff in a little bit, but
Crazy. Fuck.
I feel like there needs to be some form of like regulation, and like there is a window where they can announce this, but I feel like it has really become a business, which is fine. But it's just gonna take some getting used to. That's the thing, is I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I don't want the sport to change like this, blah blah blah. But it because it's so new, and because now we're seeing so many people go. So like, obviously big names are going in there. DJ
Uyunglele?
Uyunglele.
Uyunglele. See, I always used to say Uyunglele, but you're right. It's
Uyunglele.
and I remember doing the story and like going on radio to talk about it, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's just, who we're talking about when we say DJ.
But so. Isn't that isn't that the most obvious one? Like Kate we didn't talk about this. Kate Klubnik came in and played fucking great. Of course he did. So I you know what, we could sit on DJ for a second because I'm really interested to see where he goes.
Yeah.
UCLA, I know he's a USC guy, potentially. UCLA makes a lot of sense. Oregon, I think, would be great.
Quack, quack. That's where I would imagine he would go over UCLA.
Maybe Florida. We thinking Florida? Like, I think West Coast would fit him well, but what a awesome kid, by the way. I know this has been a roller coaster of 2 years. The sideline shots of him, the interviews, I follow his dad still on Twitter, and like, what a awesome family. And like, I just like, it's weird. Like, everyone like feels like just, I want nothing but success for him. I really hope he goes somewhere that he can thrive, because I feel like there's so much talent, and we've seen it as a freshman. We have to somebody's got to try and unpack it now. I really think if he gets in the right situation with the right offensive mind, he can do great. And I'm curious where that would be. But he's a big name. Devin Leary is a very big name.
Yes.
Who else do we have? Like, it's like
chaos. Drake May said that he's staying. So somebody had reported that Drake May was going to transfer. He tweeted today that he is staying at UNC.
Get that NIL money is what he's waiting for. I mean, that's it. Like, right? Like, isn't that what this is going to be coming? Re-recruiting your players with a package?
Yeah. Well, and yeah. And I think at this point now, you can also recruit like other guys. Like, I think they were talking about it on the broadcast with USC, is like, a lot of the reason the USC got a lot of these transfers is because they get to play with Caleb Williams. And it's like, I think now if you're a quarterback, like, you can recruit guys to come play with you and say like, hey, we'll find the NIL stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's now becoming a full-blown like recruiting system, like you would for any professional team, to have like a free agent come sign with you.
You know, the one that shocked me is Spencer Sanders. That was one I did not see The other one that is somewhat hilarious is Slovis, who like is just going to live in every state in college football. Like half the ACC quarterbacks are in the transfer portal. I did hear a little Devin Leary, a little birdie has said that he may pick a very popular school in the SEC.
Oh,
just a little tidbit there. I don't know if that's. I'm gonna try and confirm, but that could be a really interesting one.
Okay.
Team that you may like or may appreciate a little bit, like Strong. No, it's not Strong. You know what though? Like how are we supposed to bet bowl games right now? How are we supposed to do this? I am really I know no one really cares. Like the gamblers, but like how are you supposed to size this up? Like it's a mess out there. It really is.
I'm also curious to see if Dabo still continues to not touch the transfer portal at this point.
Well, if you don't like it, Paige, you can go hire someone else. His words.
I also saw somebody defending him in the media, and it was comical. It was really comical. Like, what's so funny is, like, we try our best. Like, we fully disclose the people that we are friends with, the people that we know, our biases. We're like, here's our bias. We try not to be. We'll own up to it. All of those things. There are some people in the media that, like, sit on their high horse and act like they're completely unbiased about certain things. And, like, you're a human being. You're gonna like other people over other, like, coaches in terms of, like, personalities. And you can tell this person specifically is a fan of Dabo. And so they defended him being the way that he is and clapping back at somebody.
How are those? I mean,
I don't mind that he clapped back at anyone. What?
How were those mentions on Twitter? Probably not great.
No, like, they were fine because he's a male.
Oh.
So.
Oh. Yeah, there we go.
Can you imagine if it's more just like people love to play devil's advocate in college football media because they're always thinking that everyone's being too woke, so they'll try to go the opposite direction. It's like, no.
All I know is that Iowa has gotten its transfer portal quarterback of the future in Cade McNamara.
Hear. Even though you told him not to come.
Yes, I think I think he should have looked around a little bit. But I'm thrilled, by the way. It's one of the best quarterbacks Iowa's had in a long time. Like, you can take that statement however you want. But when he's played, he was good. He was a playoff quarterback. So compared to what they've had, now that Kentucky-Iowa game, by the way, I don't know what Iowa's doing at quarterback. I'm assuming Padilla is in the portal. Levis left. You got, like, wide receivers all over the place in that game leaving. The total in that one is 31 points in Iowa.
31. I saw that today. I did see
bad.
that. So if someone tweets the spread, then I'll know it. But
yeah, don't worry about the total. We won't be grilling you about totals.
We won't do totals.
We won't even maybe ask you about that game. It's disgusting. But the portal as a whole is a mess, and I can't, like, roster management for these coaches is going to be so friggin' hard. Like,
we've talked about,
you know what I mean? Like I just yikes.
This is actually a perfect segue. Deion Sanders is now the head coach at the University of Colorado. Made his son stand up in the press conference and said, "There's your quarterback." So that's one way to do it, I guess. And basically had a conversation with people being like, I'm bringing in, with the team saying, I'm bringing my guys, whoever's the best will play, all of these things.
Louis, I'm bringing luggage, and it's Louis. That's what, like, great line, by the way.
Just, how do we feel about that? What's your take on that whole scenario and Deion?
All right, so him essentially telling his entire team to get your ass in the portal. I am paraphrasing, but I believe that was kind of the theme.
Yeah.
I've got mixed feelings about this whole thing. I think if you're Colorado, this is exactly what you need competitively. And did you see, like, some of the staff that he's putting together? Like Zimmer, and I mean they're attracting some major names. I want to make sure that is, you know what? Hold on. Before I say that recklessly, Let me make sure that this isn't Twitter.
While you're looking that up, I did see, I think it was the athletic director where they were asking how they're going to pay him, and he's like, "We don't have it right now, but we're going to."
Yeah.
That is some bold stuff. The Pac-12 must be media deal. They must be consulting with the ADs and letting them know that a big deal is going to come, or something has to be happening where they think NIL money's coming. It's some donor or booster from Colorado. I don't know, but the fact that he legitimately was like, "We don't have the money right now, but we will have it." If I'm Dion, I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm trying to find where I saw Willie Taggart, which I found very interesting, but I swear to God, hold on. Mike Zimmer hires Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer is his defensive coordinator. Like, Mike Zimmer is a legit, like, that's a crazy hire. All right, so back to your question, though. Colorado needs this, and from a competitive standpoint, this is wonderful. Mm-hmm. Dion's going to attract a lot. I could still feel kind of shitty for the Colorado players that are, when he basically told them to transfer, and then they're like, they're like chanting with him at the end. It's just kind of awkward. So I think Dion's going to produce tremendous content. I think his son actually is going to be really good. Mm-hmm. I think this could work out really well. Is still, like, to y'all Colorado players there listening to this, trying to figure out where you fit in, like, to a select group of people, I feel bad. Yeah. But I understand why they're doing it, and Dion's got to win. Like, he's not here to get fired. He's getting paid a lot of money, so I get it's the sport. This is not feelings ball. He needs players, but it's still. This is not feelings ball. It's not. I'm a softie, so I'm looking at these kids' eyes and they're like, fuck, like, this is a lot to take in, and it was. So where did you land on it?
You know what? I'm cool with a coach coming to the Pac-12 and making it relevant and trying to be flashy, and it's sad and it's unfortunate for those kids, obviously, but I don't mind it. I think this is I don't think there's a
professional sport now.
It is. It's a professional sport now, and we have to sort of accept that, and that's okay.
The other. Dion's going to be great content. I want to do a story. It's funny. Remember, we were talking during the year, like, hey, we should do a story on Dion.
Yeah.
And then it just got too busy. But Jeff Brom, Mr. Brom, back to Louisville. That's Louisville upgraded in coaches, like, so substantially. And the fact, by the way, that Satterfield, like, is going to the team that they're playing in the bowl game is also very funny. Like you're going the Louisville Cincinnati route, and they're like, and he's like, I'm just out. Like, and that's the way to do it. But Brom to Louisville is a big deal. Like, I think he's a really good coach. He wanted to go home. That team's going to be a pain in the ass in the ACC, I think. And so that I thought that was an interesting move. I did not expect that, but it sounds like it's been in the works for a while. Yeah,
and it was just interesting that there was just so much chaos from Sunday to now. There has been so much movement, whether it be transfer portal, coaches wise, or anything like that. It's kind of nuts. That stuff is moved so quickly that kind of flew under the radar a little bit.
Okay, so other stuff. Michael Penix staying, awesome, wonderful.
Yes.
Like, that's great.
Did you see? So much fun. You see the tweet of how he did it?
Yes, announced it at the
about how they had their, like, awards banquet or whatever, and then they played the video of him saying that he's staying for everyone, awesome. And, like, everyone freaked out. Like, that's awesome. I love that. I've loved him for a while. I'm excited. Washington is absolutely going to be a problem and a very, very good team next year. Just a heads up, everyone.
To this point, who are we struggling with? Who has eligibility left? Because I am.
I have no idea. I have no idea who's eligible and who's not. I literally had to look up. I was having this conversation with my brother the other day. I was like, I don't even know. I was like, is Bo Nix have another year?
That's exactly the person I was just going to ask about. Like, literally, I was just typing into Google Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
Because Bo Nix is, like, hold on. Bo Nix, eligibility. Somebody, hold on.
Sorry, just the way you said eligibility.
The fourth-year junior has an additional year of eligibility if he chooses to opt out of the 23 NFL draft. So Bo Nix could stay. Bo Nix should stay, by the way, because Bo Nix can really help himself. I know he lost his OC, but still.
Yeah.
Bo Nix,
and once the season's over, we I know we don't go heavy into draft stuff, but I do think we should look at some of the players that like could have gone, couldn't have gone, or could have gone and didn't go, and kind of look at those guys.
Does Mac Duggan have eligibility?
I have no idea.
I'm looking. Is Max? Let's see. Was Mac?
I think he's I think he's a senior.
I do too. I don't think he does. Can Max Duggan? No, these are all terrible.
You know what's so funny though is that did you see the thing about Stetson Bennett about how he's born the same year as Lamar Jackson?
Oh my God. No, I didn't see that. That's great.
They were literally both born in the same year, and Stetson's like going to the Heisman as a finalist and still in college.
Like Stetson Bennett. If you told me he could play another year, I would believe you.
Yeah.
But he is out, right? This is the end of the Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett. Okay. Sean Clifford we're done with, I think, too.
But this is going to be a struggle in the offseason because it's like a lot of the players are still...
We have COVID, transfer. Yep. Oh, great news, though. This is great news. The Virginia players for this year do get an extra year of eligibility. That was ruled today.
You know, okay, this is a lighthearted pod. I have somewhat mixed feelings about this, and I don't like... But real quick, it's an atrocity. It's horrible. These guys lost like, I don't know, a third of their season or less.
Yeah.
I am curious though, and I'm happy for them who need extra eligibility.
Yeah.
But the part of me that's a little slippery is where do you draw the line on this in the future, right? You have Utah had a death on their team, right? Nothing as public as all death is horrible, but it's nothing as public or as like horrific as this. Yes. But like, does this open it up? Like, not that people are going to be trying to use this as a loophole, mind you, but like, I think it's a fascinating decision. I just read it before we came on, and I was a little surprised.
I do think that eligibility is always like questionable because we always have that, and we've had like really ridiculous conversations around it because like you'd have guys that would apply for an extra year of eligibility after like injuries and missing years, and then you'd have guys that transferred who were star quarterbacks. Yeah. And they would get their eligibility and the other guys wouldn't. So there's always, I think there was like a guy that had like, he couldn't transfer within like a however many mile radius. And he was like 1 mile away from whatever. And then it was like, nope. So it's like, there's some stuff that like they've needed to figure out that situation for a while. So I think we will see some eligibility stuff, especially with like transferring in like 1 year. If you do it once, you're able to do it, you know, and play right away, things like that. And I think there's definitely a lot of rules that will be looked at in terms of eligibility stuff. And then having COVID years and all of that. I mean, we've got guys that have literally been in college football for 6-7 years at this point.
Again, back to the point of trying to understand what these rosters are going to look like. Forget about next August, but like, how about like in 2 weeks? It's really wild just with all of the parameters that have gone on. So I'm happy for the Virginia players that maybe like missed out on their season, but it is a really interesting precedent, and you're curious to see where it goes. What else? What else do we have? There's a lot of shit. We said it was going to be short.
We said it was going to be short. This is mostly us just like wrapping everything up. I think next week we'll obviously dive into bowl games, which will be really fun. I'm looking forward to bowl season so much. Any random shit you want to talk about? Oh, we do need to talk about the Aaron Judge thing yesterday. About how the tweet went out. Arson Judge heading to Giants or something like that.
What a fuck up. What a fuck up on few fronts. First he didn't go to the Giants. Arson Judge, get money. By the way.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money to be paying a large man. We are the Get Money pod, so we love it when anybody gets a huge bag. But holy shit, like that is a ton of money. But Arson Judge, and then just kind of apologizing for it, like
being like, "Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun." Like that's a big thing to jump the gun on. John.
It's a big thing. I would have loved, and maybe there'll be more, like the negotiation of Judge. What is funny, like baseball free agency has been wild. Mets fan here, so I'm kind of along for the ride. Justin Verlander, good with, like excited about. But the Padres just throwing a bazillion dollars at everyone. Like the Padres offered Judge $400 million. Did you see that? And he didn't want it. And they offered Trey Turner more money too. And no, so I will play for our team, Padres.
Yeah, I think if anyone wants me to be a baseball player, a professional baseball player on their team, or a head coach of their college football team, I'm in. I'm all in.
It's yes, it is but God, the money being thrown around is just absolutely it is absolutely insane. What else? Oh, I did want to talk about my Elf on the Shelf. And so if you're
you're doing Elf on the Shelf,
if you have children that are listening to this pod, please just know we're talking Elf on the Shelf
about
talk.
To talk some things. Okay.
You know what? Actually, I don't want to ruin it, but our elf is getting mischievous. Did you see my tweet the other night where he was taped to the wall like a hostage?
Yes.
Our elf, we're trying to help come up with ways for the elf to be creative, and it's very difficult. I'm running out of ideas.
You should pull a Kim Kardashian and say the elf has COVID and stick it in the jar and it has to quarantine for 2 weeks so it can't move.
That's what she did?
Yeah. Last year.
Well played.
To be honest, that's genius. That is genius.
Well, for some reason, our elf this year needs to be more mischievous, and it's exhausting. And
if you want me to come up with ideas, I totally can. You put me in a group chat with you and Caitlin, and I'll just be like, "This is what." I have friends that have small children that are doing it now, and that's the age that I'm at. And one of them was like, "I'm hot glue gunning something right now," and I was like, you are the real MVP of a parent because
yeah, no, see the problem is by the end of the day, everyone's just fucking tired and was he just put him in the chandelier, whatever.
Do you it's like you both get into bed and you're like, did you move the elf?
That's exactly what happens. And then it's like, God damn it.
And
all
your
right,
kids
I'll put him on the fan. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love it. I love the joy.
You're in the prime of Christmas magic with kids, the prime of it.
Oh, it
with
is
all
so
of your
much
children,
fun.
and that's it has to be so cool.
Olivia, my oldest, last year was actually kind of scared and would not go downstairs. She'd wait at the top of the stairs, listening, is that no, okay. So it is fun, but it is tiresome. So I do thank you. I do love this time of year. I am going to my dad's this weekend, and we celebrate. I fry another turkey. We drink a bazillion bottles of wine. It's fun. This is the weekend I go. We watched Army Navy, and we watched the Heisman, and we gamble, and we drink, and we open presents, and it's. It's the start for me. For us, our social life comes back on Saturdays.
Seriously, wild. I have plans this Saturday night. I'm going out. I'm very excited with my friends. Because our downtown area, the place that we live, is very festive, and so we're going out, and I'm super excited. I love Christmas. We do drinking and going and seeing Christmas lights.
That's great.
Yeah, and now that my friends have like small kids, it's always like kind of fun to do that. And also my family's just full of children. There's lots of I have 8 cousins in one family, and they all have kids except for 3 of them. So
this is a really fun time of year. So no, I am looking forward to a breath, and then like next week we are it's time.
This episode was chaotic, so if you made it to this point in the episode, good for you.
No, this is our finest work.
This is our best work, really.
So
and then
I'm looking
next
up
week
the Bulls.
we'll do Bull.
Okay, so next week we have. Oh shit! There's a lot of games we can cover.
Yeah, no, that's why we break it up on
4,
the
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
So-
11.
Okay, so
10.
we'll do games from the 6th because they start the 16th. Games from the 16th to the 21st,
Yes,
and then
it's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games. So we'll go over every single one of them.
Oh, I love this. I just like it's like degenerate Christmas. But like UTSA Troy is a good game. That's a good.
Okay.
If you.
I know we're supposed to be wrapping up, but this is what bothers me so much about college football is like some people will be like, it's just that matchup. I'm like, every game is a good game, even when there is like someone's gonna get blown out. Like, this is bowl season. It's different. Not everyone's going to get blown out because of the team that they are, because half their players are opting out, transferring, doing whatever. So this is the time of year where the matchup that may not necessarily be good during the season is excellent. So stop complaining.
No. This is a time, I mean, where who gives a shit? You need stuff to gamble on. And Washington State and Fresno State, which is an awesome football game, is there. I'm not saying any of these point spreads, by the way. Did you notice that? I'm really trying not to, but I'm looking at them. And
You're looking at them. That's going to be a really fun game.
So, no. Any other random shit? We said we were going to get short. It was an hour and 5 minutes. So, what else is new?
What else is new?
No, go enjoy. I hope you have a fun football-free Saturday. Well, we got to pick Army-Navy. We have to pick Army-Navy.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so.
Guys, we recorded later today. We've been a little chaotic.
Okay, so Army versus Navy. The total in this game is 32 points.
Oh my gosh, are you being serious?
Yes. No, well, that's like
give me the over.
I do like the over in this.
Over.
And the spread in this game is 2.5. And Navy, Navy's favored by 2.5. That was not.
So I'm gonna take. I usually, because of family ties, I usually root for our Army, but I'm gonna pick Navy -2.5, and I'm taking the over. That is a recipe for success.
So,
where is it?
It is in Philly. And okay. It's actually a good game. Both of these two teams have had super weird seasons. Not to get too deep into this game, but I'm going to go deep for a second. Both of them had weird seasons. Army has covered the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games.
Oh, over the spreads.
Navy has covered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the last, 7 of the last 9 games. So they both have been covering machines.
Yes. I'm gonna go Navy. Are you taking Army? We're both hammering the over, that's the best betting advice you can give anyone.
No, I think I'm gonna go Navy too.
Okay, look at us.
Navy beat UCF. I forgot about that.
I know.
Lost to Notre Dame, but remember that game? It was weird. Yeah, we're on Navy. So we are on Navy and we're on the over, which is a perfect pick and pint. I
love overs. Overs make me so happy.
Now this is going to be a brutal over. We got to buckle the chin strap.
It's going to be a grind. It's going
to be this clock killing piece of shit over.
It's going to be so nice to watch that game because it's relatively early in the day, and we get to watch it. Wait. What time is it?
We got to check we have to check the weather too.
The weather,
because this game,
even if it snows, you're fine.
Well, that's true for these teams.
32 points.
What's sad is I don't live in Philly. But Philly showed up in my. It's 45 and partly cloudy. It's beautiful.
Okay, but what time is the game?
I think it's 2:30 normally. I think it's in that CBS. Hold on, I think it's in that CBS spot. So you listen to Nestler, and it's 2:00.
So 12 my time.
Yes.
Oh wow, I love watching football that I don't have to work and watch. I could just watch and enjoy because I love the environment and the history and the bands and all this, the crowd and everything. It's so beautiful. It's America.
Yeah. It is. This is on the bucket list. I've said this every year. I really would love to go to this game and take it in. So this is something we should do at some point because the scenes from this game are unmatched in college football. So at some point that will happen. All right, we've been too long. Cheers to you. Cheers to us. Municipal, cheers to you as well.
Yes, we love Municipal.
Thanks for supporting the pod, and we will talk to you guys soon.